like when I was hearing about this rated R Joker film, I was like, all right, we're doing this now. Okay, Todd Phillips, director of Old School, great comedy, Hangover 1, all right, 2 and 3, you really care for. It's like, okay, he gonna direct this. Okay. And we see some first clips of it, some first pictures. Look really cool. That's with Joaquin Phoenix as Joker in the subway. That scene looked kind of interesting.
I was super hyped for it because one, I was thinking of Adam McKay. Right. Could move from comedy to serious. And make it work. It's like, Todd Phillips could totally do. Because he come from that same time now. That same time about filmmaking.
I think it brings us back to that whole line about comedy and tragedy being hand in hand.
Right. So if you could do that, you could do this.
So if you have a deeper understanding of comedy, and how it links to
Adam McKay, Todd Phillips obviously in real world, in real world interviews, he kind of hamstring himself a little bit. He kind of sounding a little dotish now. But I don't mind. I think he should keep your square, but whatever. But I couldn't seeing the film itself, we could now get into the new Joker movie. I was so hyped for it going in. I was thinking, all right, good. I'm hyped for this. Joaquin Phoenix is one of the main reasons.
Yes, me too.
Of course,
So there's a film that came out last year, earlier this year? You Were Never Really Here.
You Were Never Really Here.
Yes.
Super dark film.
Well, last year was it?
Yeah,
it was last year.
Super dark film. Like pitch black film. It's deal with loneliness and a lot of stuff. And I was thinking, all right, you're going to do, I was expecting something. I wasn't expecting something that dark because it's a big popcorn movie. But I knew they had to take something and make it work in that way. And have it build them up. And then you're doing the whole, the clockwork orange. You have to do the quote unquote, because everybody's making fun of this whole we live in a society movies. Right? That's what we call it. It's a person who just the thing and the thing, and you have Travis Bickle, you have Rupert Pupkin, and you have who else? Was
Alexander the Large in a sense from A Clockwork Orange.
A Clockwork Orange, and you have all these characters. You have what's his name from Nightcrawler?
I can't remember his name now.
Lou Bloom. From Nightcrawler, and you have characters who society treat them like shit, and now revenge time, school shooter shit, right? And people saying, the movie responsible, and I didn't listen to any of the dialogue around that because I'd frankly say it's a shallow. All the back and forth over this film I thought was quite shallow.
I also feel like it's not to be insensitive, but it's an American issue.
Right. It is. Because it always has been, actually.
This whole thing about watching a movie and then being inspired to be violent about it. Why don't you hear about that?
Well, Amika actually said something wrong because I said, well, I agree with you when it says American, but like with A Clockwork Orange, for example, which was directed by an American director, Stanley Kubrick, the GOAT. After that, he had to pull it off theaters because there were these copycat crimes of people, performing all these like violent acts, and they say they believe it on the movie. That's the thing.
You think I get it. You think you're responsible for that, but at the same time, you don't know for sure. It's a stretch.
And then the media tends to fixate on stuff like that.
And then they call it clockwork crimes, basically.
They say, God forbid, you have somebody who shoots up a restaurant.
Exactly. It's a total selfie. Right. Everybody making this point now. Well, you could tell a lot of modern media now. I hate mainstream media. CNN itching for one of these people to do a crime and do a school shooter. So boy, now they have a new story. They need them clicks now.
And
I thought
they need to spend 24 hours
I thought all the dialogue around this is so shallow and dumb and weak. And look, I don't think there's a legit argument and discussion to have around quote unquote we live in a society movies. We did review for it recently, Fight Club. That's another we live in a society movie. And this film doesn't do that or taps into it very well, right? I like the new Joker movie. It's a lot of fun, but if you're going there with the quote for any depth, you're not gonna get it in this one. No, right? You're not gonna get it. If I were to make a recommendation as a proper we live in a society movie, here's a movie I recommend. Bus 174.
Oh, I don't know that.
I saw it 10 years ago.
It's a great Brazilian documentary reenactment movie.
Okay.
It's a documentary. That's a reenactment.
Right.
That is a we live in a society movie. Watch it, go in blind. It's made by someone who's unfairly maligned as a filmmaker, Josue Padilla. That is the guy who directed
RoboCop.
You recent RoboCop remake.
That
RoboCop remake didn't work because the studio didn't want to make him rated R. If it was rated R, it would have been good. But whatever. And I absolutely love that film. Now, that film does the whole we live in a society thing of this guy being driven to what he did in the story. I thought that was great, right? And it doesn't make him a hero or anything like that, but it does make him genuinely sympathetic.
Right.
Genuinely sympathetic, especially if you understand Brazilian society. Brazilian society sucks for dudes like him. For what they decide to go with and what they did with that.
Okay.
Right? Joker, not so much. American kids, and we need to talk about Kevin and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe.
What's this one with Michael Douglas?
Falling Down.
Falling Down, yeah. People have been making a lot of comparisons with the show too, Falling Down.
Right.
And then all of this quote-unquote incel society stuff, stretch.
Kind of.
I don't think it fed into that. But does Joker work? And we can start talking about Joker now.
Yeah. So I don't want to go into details about what the movie's about.
Right.
You just kind of go into what we thought about this show, right? So, all right, I'll just kind of just give my brief opinion of the movie, and then I'll just kind of jump into what I like and what I didn't like, right? There's some things that I kind of didn't really like all that much, or didn't work for me, right? So for me personally, I went in with my expectations low. All I went in knowing was just, okay, this movie is controversial for some reason. It might be all bullshit. I was hearing stuff about, gun violence and the portrayal of violence in the movie, right?
Yeah.
But I knew full well that, okay, this movie just really had to go out this way to shock me, for me to be like, yeah, you're right. But after watching it, I was like, okay, I understand where the controversy comes from, but still, it just feels kind of misguided. It's like, we just picked this one show here because because a comic book movie, and this is why it is. And this is funny because, like, and we had Deadpool and Deadpool 2.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can make arguments like that, right?
But I think because
the marketing is so contrived. That's the problem with this. Because news media feed into it and look, Todd Phillips talking shit. And everything just feels so fake and contrived around the film.
And you have to ask yourself, would this conversation be happening if that guy didn't shoot up that cinema for the last Batman?
For Dark Knight Rises back in 2012.
But even that, even just the general school shooting and the whole, again, quote-unquote incel culture, is not, it is a demonization in the wrong way. They're missing the point now.
Exactly.
And they try to make it all, it's a white this and white guys or something like that. That stuff really, it don't relate to this.
Right. So, overall, I will just give my general opinion. I love the film.
Yes.
It is one of the best of the year. I will not say that it's some kind of top tier masterpiece or anything like that.
Right.
It's no Taxi Driver. It's not up there.
That's the thing with it. It's very derivative.
It is.
It's very, very derivative. Like, super, but and here's the thing. You could make the argument, it's homage versus thing. But I feel it falls more on the side of derivative. Sorry.
Yeah. I agree with you though, because yes, I know that Todd Phillips was inspired by both the Scorsese classics. Right. Well, sorry, not classics. Well,
classics. Yeah.
Taxi Driver is a classic. King of Comedy, which I saw recently, I never saw before. I was like,
never saw it.
This actually is not bad though. Like, as far as his filmography goes, it's not one of my favorite films, but it's it's not because it's a PG film, right?
And I've never seen Taxi Driver. I've seen parts of it.
Right.
Like I've never seen it.
All right, so you need to watch Taxi Driver. It is the shit. It is the truth.
I absolutely love. I love King of Comedy. I think King of Comedy is a great, like, criminally underrated film. I didn't. When I heard, I first watched it when I heard that he was going to do a Joker movie.
Oh, okay. I should have done that.
And then I heard. We call it Scorsese was going to be part of it.
Right.
I was like, that sounds like something. I like King of Comedy. And I saw that years ago, but I barely remember it.
Okay.
Decided to give it a rewatch, to see it in depth, to say, okay, to just refresh my mind about it.
Right.
And I was like, but this movie is great though.
Yeah.
And it's more take on the media. Yeah. Not so much society in general, but it's kind of about media and what happens at the big ending. There's a good running joke about King of Comedy that Robert De Niro is playing the same character years later.
But
it's the same timeline, so it really matter.
Right.
But that's a running joke now. But it works for what it is. But aesthetically, the same thing. Yeah. And it's great. And it borrows from what Joker did. It doesn't borrow too much from King of Comedy, in my opinion. Yeah. Just enough. You've seen it, what it is, and then they make it work.
Okay.
Do they make Joker a sympathetic character? The answer is yes.
Yes, they do.
They do a good job with it, especially involving there's a great narrative with the mother.
Yes.
And Wayne and Wayne's dad.
Thomas Wayne.
Thomas Wayne's dad, right? Thomas Wayne. And no, here's the thing. I didn't mind you have Thomas Wayne referencing on what Thomas Wayne represents in the movie, which is there's a big class consciousness aspect.
Yes.
But then it's not so much class consciousness going to create a person like that, but the battle going to create something like that.
Yes.
And what happens to him and him as a character, get fired, he had a lot of unfair treatment. They make it work.
Yeah.
Yes,
For what
it
it
is.
was.
Yeah.
It's a constant breakdown of a person's soul.
Right.
Yes,
You know?
yes.
And this person, prior to that, it's revealed to us without getting into it that there was damage there from way before.
Yeah. No, right. So what they do with that, I thought it was kind of okay because I thought they balanced the argument because it's literally a he said she said story.
Yes.
But the way how they frame it is that all right, almost all of the evidence against this character.
Yes.
I'm not going to say who it is.
Yeah.
But they just sprinkled just enough to
Which
make it
I love because it brought me back to Heath Ledger's Joker,
Right.
where we get multiple stories
Right.
Yeah,
and
you want to know
multiple
how I got these
possibilities.
scars,
And
right?
I think I've always been one of those people who believe Joker should remain as mysterious a character as possible.
Yeah.
So
And you get it,
I think they did a good job of balancing with giving you an origin,
right.
but it may not be the truth.
Keep it unclear, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Then
And that's something that I actually love about the film too. Where like, yes, it's a character piece, yes. It's an origin story, but it's not exactly the origin story that you think.
Right.
So it kind of make you wonder, okay, because what I was going to say though is like, one of my friends kind of dismissed the trailer when she first saw it. That, that's not the Joker that I know and all that kind of stuff. But I love how the film, which I'll get into it a bit, kind of works around the ideas that he may not be the Joker that you know, but is what he represents. It's a symbol of him.
Or he may be a Joker.
Exactly.
Right. I don't have a problem with it.
I love that aspect
I
of the
think
movie.
he is not the Joker. I know when people respond like that to characters, I think these tend to be people who don't know the character.
Yeah.
They don't read the comics. They don't read the source material.
And they don't want to. They expect somebody to tell them, hey, Joker did this.
It's a knee-jerk pop culture reaction to something.
Right.
Because if you've read comics, if you read graphic novels, you absolutely 100% know there can be multiple versions of a character.
Correct. And this comic borrows a lot of that, right? So if I want a bit of killing joke in there, you have this, stuff, that, it all sprinkled, they do enough with the script. What I didn't like, too many allusions to Batman.
I didn't mind it, but I would say though, it could get a little like, okay, like the movie going fine on its own as a standalone thing, but we always have to stop to kind of remind you all, and not just it's in Gotham City, but like, we gotta do this Batman thing, we gotta do the Batman, we gotta do this.
They did a thing. Okay, so the reason why I think the balance is right because so Brian Tyree Henry is in this movie.
Yeah,
and he does something to Joker, which made me think that one-sided story is actually accurate, not the other side, because it come across like a cover-up.
Right.
Yes.
When he tried to say, hey, you need a stamp for this kind of thing, and then right. And that's what made me think. And then another thing, well, there's a big spoiler. I would try to say, why it is that the state didn't intervene? That's all I'll say.
Right.
Right? Usually the state should intervene.
Yeah.
They didn't.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say. I thought, okay, that's why I believe one side over the other. Whatever. And then another thing, they did a Fight Club moment for us.
Yes.
With another character.
Yes.
That had a surprisingly weak payoff for me. It was cool, but it was weak still.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
and they could have gone much darker with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Much darker, in my opinion.
Well, how I saw it, and I think we could get into spoilers now, because this was supposed to be a spoiler video, right? Kind of halfway, right? Yeah. Okay, so with the relationship between him and his mother, right? So at first, it's kind of mama's boy kind of thing. He's kind of reliant on his mom, but because she suffered from cancer and he had to take care of her, you kind of get that. But you see from his character, right, how awkward he is. Well, I guess around women. It's like, okay, this is you know what I mean, like you know the whole mother worship, mother fixation kind of stuff. You know, I was gonna say Auntie Perkins, that other person thing, right? So it's like, okay, I have to be there for my mom, but here's this attractive girl, played by Zazie Beetz, who I kind of like, but you know what I mean, I really don't know what to say there. And then I get this sort of, like, at first I was thinking he's gonna rip off Death Wish with the hood that he has on, then, but how he kind of like tracking her down, that kind of vibe there, but it's like, he just kind of tracking her down to see where she going to work. That's creepy. Right. And then they kind of set up, she kind of like him, and then that's when they drop the bombshell now.
Yeah, they did that a good job with that, because it's very discordant.
Yes.
Yeah. But I was watching it with somebody else.
Yeah.
And she was saying, well, how come she likes she?
It kind of weird, like how she just become attached to him all of a sudden.
It is very good.
Yeah.
But it's still weak.
It is. But just to finish up. So what I was thinking, right? Because when that reveal hits, this is right after he finds out what happened, what his mom was hiding from him.
Yes.
And then he goes back to Gladiator time, days now, and stifles her with the pillow. Like I was like, this is some Gladiator. This is what he did, Gladiator, right? With his dad, right? Right?
Right.
So I think it like is, I don't know, maybe I don't know the psychological terms, but because his mother, the person that he looks up to more than anybody else, betray him, and he kind of gets rid of her. Now it's like he kind of has no emotion towards Mormon anymore. It's kind of cut off somehow. He kind of feels like, oh, well, maybe Zazie Beetz' character, forgetting her name, will kind of betray me because I'm different and I'm so weird. And that's why he kind of just barges in, kind of. And this is where I got thrown off at first now. Kind of wait, now, did he kill her? Because I see this kind of emulate the whole gunshot.
We don't know, right? It's left open to interpretation.
Exactly.
I don't think so. I didn't get that feeling, but I think if he did, he would not have touched your daughter, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But the whole point is that's it. It's Joker. He leaves you.
Exactly.
Kills her.
Yeah.
So
and it's because of how the music is set up to it. You're thinking, oh shit, you're gonna do it. And oh yes, and by the way, the whole shot
the Travis Bickle,
that's from Taxi Driver.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
But the thing is, the reason why you might think he killed her is because he killed we're not sure even that true yet. But when he was walking the final scene, the blood.
Yes.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah. I want to talk about that final scene in a bit, but go on.
That's it. I really like this movie for what it was. It is very derivative, but if you ignore that, it is very well made and well executed. I thought editing was solid. I like it for what it was. Characterization, I liked it for what it was. I still liked. I really enjoyed it.
And
I can't be mad at editing. I get it. I get why people find it a little pretentious, maybe. Yes, it punching above its weight in terms of its worth, mean.
Right.
But I don't want to gatekeep it now. I just think I think it for it was.
For me, at this point, like I said, I've only seen it once. And in discussing it with you guys, I'm seeing things that I didn't see before. But on my viewing, for me, I got everything I needed to get out of it, right? Like I said, I haven't seen Taxi Driver. I'm aware of the film by osmosis, by nerd osmosis, right? But I haven't seen it. I haven't seen The King of Comedy. So, funny enough, one of the references I felt like I got was The Exorcist because of the staircase. That's that whole thing with him on that staircase. It just kept bringing The Exorcist to mind for me because of that long staircase. But the performances. Joaquin blew me out the water, but
he's great.
The directing, every scene from him standing in the kitchen and the light a certain way.
One thing I noticed is him movement.
That's what I was about to say.
So he's doing a lot of dancing. But he did one thing that's weird. Okay, because I think it's because of the clown shoes. How he just run.
Right. Yeah. He has this kind of particular run, and he just keep hearing this clop.
He runs like he's wearing clown shoes even when he's not wearing clown shoes.
Right.
Yes.
And it's like those little things that you don't think about, but Joaquin just brings it to like holy shit.
And he curls himself into himself when he sits down.
A lot of good body language.
Yes. I absolutely love the dance scene. I know the that first scene after the kill on the subway. And the cinema was dead silent. And I know it was confusing
but I just kind of like it for some weird reason. I was like,
it reminded me of like sometimes I do this weird thing sometimes when I'm eating. I might do a little dance while I'm eating, and I see my nephew does it too. And I think it's almost like a transformative scene. So
for some odd reason, I was thinking Apocalypse Now. This is when Martin Sheen gets drunk in his hotel room and he just does this kind of like Tai Chi thing and then smashes his hand. I was thinking that now. And even weird because he's in the bathroom doing it. It's like, okay.
But as I said, but you're right. You're right. That's good. That at the same time, that kind of brings on for me because it's so derivative.
Right. But that's the thing.
You can tell Todd Phillips is like,
you guys are seeing all these moments here, and I am just seeing.
That's why I don't mind. I don't mind that because it's 2019. So it's like, it's so far apart. They have a whole chunk of people who never see these movies.
So they will probably do it like I did.
And they will enjoy the movie as imagine that. Because I, as a filmmaker and as a film goer, think like that. You have to say, what you're going to take and what you're going to do, how much time could pass, how much not. And look, the master that, just bring out a movie the other day and they do the same shit over and over, yet because of time, he get away. Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino is super derivative.
By love and foot.
Exactly. It is work. So I can't dump on him and not dump on him, right? So that's why I don't have a problem with the film as it is.
But I totally see what you guys are talking about now. But to be fair, like, I enjoyed it on the level of best of 2019.
I dug it for you.
I dug it on all levels. I totally get the violence was shocking.
Right.
Because the first time the subway scene, it was so unexpected.
That gets you, eh?
I was like,
you.
what the hell? And
that's from, for sound design though.
No, right.
Like, the cinema, I saw it, they cranked that volume up. So when you hear gunshot, you just hear blow. And it's just like, it just pierces
what I like about
your ear.
This is that it cut. The editing is excellent for that.
Yes.
It is.
They're kicking him now, and then when he passes through the shadows.
Yeah.
And then this is second the shadow come up with the light. You see boom, and see all the blood.
Yes,
Wait,
that
gets you. That gets you off guard. That was good.
Yeah, there's a lot of thought and care put into this film.
One thing that confuses me, and a lot of people think they want to interpret it a certain way. Because again, it has so much unreliable narration in this.
Yes.
So you in your head picking what real and what not real and so on so. Did he talk to Thomas Wayne in that bathroom? Did he do so and so? Did he do this?
Yeah.
And one thing that really confusing to me when he went in that fridge.
Close the fridge. Yeah. What was that?
What was that?
All right.
But the thing is, with old fridge, you can't get out of fridge. You can't open a fridge,
Yeah.
People is dead in fridge. Chinese is dead in fridge,
Yeah.
Okay, so my take on this though, sorry is no. I think like when you're exploring madness, right, in film. I've seen this with other films before. You also have to have that one moment where a character just does something so incredibly weird. And like, what? You know what I mean? Like with Taxi Driver, for example, you have him like just basically with the mohawk, and like, what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or him holding the egg, having his hand over like this flame, you know what I mean, the stove. Just these little moments you watch, it's like, why is this character doing this? I just saw that moment there, like, okay, we have to show this is the character clearly losing his shit. And it's all emotionally based. Yeah. That's why. It's still weird though, but still
I'll tell you my absolute favorite moment. It may be, some people might say, well, you're sick for liking that moment, but to me, it's just everything. When he kills the guy who basically set him up and make him lose his job.
Oh yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah, it catches me by surprise too, but at the same time I was like, this actually kind of makes sense.
What I love about it is that you're so freaked out for the little guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, and people in the, I'm hearing people in the cinema saying, he can't open that door, he can't reach the chain, he can't reach the chain. It's such a tense.
It's a great moment.
It's almost like you're locked in a room with a wild animal that you used to be friends with at some point, and like when it's now an adult, and you're not sure if it's gonna rip your neck open or it's gonna let you pet you.
Great sick.
Yeah. And he's just like, you were always nice.
Yeah. No, Joaquin was good. Joaquin
I just absolutely loved how Joker-esque that moment is.
The audience was cracking up for this.
Yeah, I like that. I like it. The scene I enjoyed.
Once I get to one scene, it's something it just hit me like just now.
Yeah.
Anybody remember that scene in Watchmen, the jailbreak scene?
Right.
And when they had that midget guy, same midget, who's about to escape, and then Rorschach was approaching him slowly.
Right.
And I think, oh shit, what's gonna happen next? They're flushing down the toilet.
Yes.
That's like a kind of a reference. Could be. I could be wrong, but who knows?
Yeah,
what's the next thing?
No, the scene I liked was the train. When he come out to the train and the police, everybody beat up the police and everything. We are all clowns and he started the riot. And then he started to do this dance.
It reminded me a lot of Heath Ledger.
Yes. He does do this dance, he escaped from there and walk away. And then they do this great slow-mo shot. Got a good slow motion.
Right. Of him walking in slow-mo.
I love that. See him Joker established here.
Yeah, this is like
I love that section. It's so well colored. It's great framing.
Yeah, the coloring in that is perfect.
Something I have
a butt with that scene though. Right? So this is right after that graphic scene, right? And then I forget the song that they play. I know it's a famous song that they play during football games and shit.
We'll Rock It. No. Right.
So he comes out and he's dancing and all that. So conveniently, the two cops are on top. The staircase, watching like, oh shit, there is.
Because that staircase connects to his apartment.
Yeah, it's right there.
But it's just the convenience of them being there.
I know that's great.
Like it works
I love his
as a
dance.
story, but
I
still
love
like
his Joker dance.
yeah, the Joker dance is
The Joker
fantastic.
dance is
But
awesome.
I know a lot of people are gonna emulate that for Halloween.
Something I don't understand. He remember it had a part where I don't know if it was intentionally out of the frame because I was wondering if the screen, my screen was big enough, or if on a bigger screen I would see it.
Okay.
But they had a part where you write on the wall, where you write Joker, I think, or you write something, and I don't know. He did something above out of frame.
I didn't see it either.
What scene was that again? Sorry.
Guys, when he's walking down the stairs, I think he's winning how quick the job. He's had a punch out.
You know what? He scratches off. It says, "Don't forget to smile."
Yeah,
he scratches out, forget and to.
So it's don't smile.
So it's don't smile.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what he did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But
Right,
and I have to say too, every time he laughed, I cried a bit.
That's a great. I love that he
it
did that. So
was such a wonderful,
he can control.
brilliant.
Yeah, a good take on it.
Take on Joker's laugh.
I love that idea that it's a condition that he has. You know what I mean? He bursts uncontrollably with laughter.
It's so raw because his throat starts to hurt.
Yeah, he's like,
I am like. In that,
brilliant.
When after the movie is done and I was at home, and in my brain I'm replaying every time I've ever heard Joker laugh in the cartoon, and it has taken on a completely different meaning.
It's a great take on it. That was a smart take on it. I enjoyed the movie the way it was. Okay, you can say pretentious and Todd Phillips going out and biting the.
I'm not taking on anything he said.
The man had listen. The man had an opportunity, Trent. It's like. It's not just any ordinary comic book movie, you know.
Nah.
It's a villain origin film. And it's rated R, Trent. And it was going to be held by Scorsese, Trent.
Right.
So I would give you real money to make this. So you had to come real good with this film.
Yeah.
I could tell this man was like, well, not like feverish, like, oh shit, all right, let me get Taxi Driver, let me get this, let me get this. No, it's like he thought about it, he figured it out, he worked with Walken, and I guess, that's what with the other actors, and just pull it off.
I always believe you're doing a focus on a villain. You cannot completely do a hero-less thing. You have to do a context.
Yeah.
Right? You recontextualize and you put it from the perspective. They did. I still think it had a little too much Batman stuff in this, but I thought it contextualized Joker very, very well.
Right.
Very, very well in my opinion. I enjoyed the movie for what it was. Now they could do Lex Luthor, Man of Steel, right?
Oh, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
So, anyone ever read that comic? It's a great five issue run.
Yeah.
Great 5-issue run, and it's like, it just totally makes Superman look terrible. And that, if like, wait. But I thought if they're doing that, they could do Lex Luthor, just do it, retake. Superman is just this distant figure.
Yes.
Don't talk to him.
Yeah.
Make a smart script. It's what Batman v Superman should have been.
Thank you.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And look, Venom failed.
I like
Venom. Get him.
I know Venom is so immature,
it is so 90s.
It put a smile on my face.
But I'll say the mistake with Venom is that it did zero context with Spider-Man. None. You can't do that, right? But it does give.
But did they at that point? Did they really have a choice to do it like that?
You do the damn thing.
Yeah.
Well, but with Joker, they just did just enough context with Batman, right? I still think it's too much, but just enough for me to enjoy this and make it work.
Yes.
For what it is. I dug this movie. I'm a fan. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I know you could do the thing. Now, is this what DC going to do from here on in? Maybe.
I don't think so.
They don't learn the lesson.
I don't think so, honestly. Like, it will be too much an edgelord kind of
what they're doing. They're learning that. They're not good at combining them. So they're like, we're going to do these character things.
Here's the thing. They still have a chance to do something like this. Because at the end of Justice League, we had Lex Luthor forming Legion of Doom.
True.
Yeah.
Right? So they could still say, all right, we could have a whole villain phase.
Yeah.
So you had a hero phase.
Yes.
You have a villain phase.
Like the comics. The comics is actually now what it is something of the villains.
Right. So you could do a whole villain phase maybe. So they could just kind of do something and maybe it don't have to necessarily lead to this stuff, but it's just to put it into the popular consciousness.
Yes. Right. So when you create your Legion of Doom, it's there.
Right.
Yeah. I love the idea.
I'm very excited to see what the DC Black Label thing could go forward with. I enjoyed this for what it was.
Yeah.
I can't be mad at it. I really can't be mad at it. I dug it.
Right. Yeah. Well, I just want to, oh gosh, I was talking about this like 10, 15 minutes ago. Right. So stuff that I love, right? Yeah. The excellent cinematography for this one. Oh my God, boy. And what I love though, in terms of like color grading, it feels like not just late 70s, early 80s movie, right?
Yeah.
But it feels like, oh well, this was color graded. Like a movie that came out in the 70s, color graded for Blu-ray release or something like that. It just looks so, I don't want to say authentic, but just how the colors pop and everything. It just felt
the
so
use of yellows and orange and stuff.
It felt like a remastered thing.
Exactly, it did. I thought it worked too. Even right now, when I saw the old school Warner Brothers logo, I was this movie get points. This movie get points for that. I clap for that.
It's nostalgia done right.
Yeah, I clap for things like that. I'm sorry. Even right down to the sort of like, so the show I'm thinking about is Rosemary's Baby.
Right.
Because they had that same sort of like elegant kind of text that they use, the font that they use, right?
Yeah.
And it's in yellow. I love it. And even right down to like when they show the title Joker, it's like right in front of your face. It's like perfect. I love this, right? Joaquin Phoenix, I mean, oh gosh, what can I say about it? The man just kill it. He kills it. Yeah. Every single shot
really
he's in, he works, right?
He was funny, he was sweet, he was sympathetic, and when he was terrifying, he was terrifying.
He was.
His scariest moments for me is when he's still. Yeah. Honestly, like when he's just looking at you, it's some of this creepy.
The part when you find out when he had to pay for the sign, and he did.
Yes.
I just cut him in the garbage dump.
Yeah, kick in the garbage can. There's one shot with him in the back of a bus though, with like graffiti background, and he's like staring at you though. That's like
the scene for me where he sent shivers down my spine. Two of them exactly. When he goes into Zazie Beetz' apartment and he's just looking at her and his hair is hanging and he's just not blinking.
Yeah.
And the psychiatrist in the end, he does the same thing in the end. When you tell her, you just wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
And it's just, he doesn't blink. And it's like a shock.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, his performance is masterful in my opinion though. And I'm going to say it out there, if this man does not get an Oscar nom for this fight, then fire burn the Oscars.
I know, but
and here's the thing. I made a joke on Facebook that an Oscar nominee managed to give this character more justice than an Oscar winner did. Like think about that for a minute, Jared Leto, I mean, I love it every time that, but bruh,
for me,
what was that?
Yeah, well, not Leto, in my opinion. Leto,
the studio told him to do that.
Yes, that's one, but he is entitled. He think,
I'm Jared Leto.
This comic book shit beneath me now.
Yeah.
And you realize, dog, it's a holistic thing with these movies, dog. Not just you like, if it wasn't a better movie, I think you deserve a better movie.
Yeah.
But to follow up from Heath Ledger.
Thank you.
And here's the thing with Leto's Joker. The look of that character doesn't bother me,
I hated the design too.
In the sense that when I say it doesn't bother me, if the performance was good enough, I could get over the ridiculous Florida gangster crap.
I don't mind the face tattoo thing. Again, that's still the whole Tanashi. That stuff, right?
Takashi 69. You know the snitch.
She snitch rock.
Okay, I don't know.
No, she's like everybody making fun of him because he just stitch into people.
Oh, that dude.
Yeah, the guy with colorful hair.
I'll
be robbing niggas shit.
Right.
What's called him? Little Nas or what he's.
Little Nas.
No. One of the other they have a little something. Whatever.
Oh, okay.
Whatever. Some white boy. But that.
Little Pete? Nah. I don't know. Okay, whatever. Recipes, little people, whatever.
The only issue I have is that if you're doing that, the only thing I want to remove is the whole damage.
Oh, yeah.
Get rid of that.
Yeah.
But he could have other tattoos. I didn't mind that.
Yeah.
Yes. You need a better film, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, the track with Skrillex and thing.
That's like the best thing about Suicide Squad. Purple Lamborghini is the best thing about Suicide Squad.
And I don't believe, Lito, that there was a bunch of stuff left on the editing room. There was some, but not to the extent that it would have made that performance any better.
And it didn't even show up in the extended cut of Suicide Squad, which, by the way, I hate even more than the theatrical cut. When I extended cut is worse than your theatrical cut, then when you got problems, but
anyway.
But yeah, Joaquin Phoenix is masterful in this.
Yes.
He needs an Oscar nom. People are going to be talking about this performance for years to come. I don't want to say it's better than Heath Ledger, but I'll say it's equal. Like, but it has things about it that he does.
I can't wait about Heath Ledger.
Here's the thing
or even equal. Heath Ledger is clearly above for me. But,
but there's some things that Joaquin does better and some things that Heath Ledger does better. So I don't know. Like I had to think about whether it's equal or not.
Ledger is still the champ for me.
Right.
Personally, because still Ledger and Hamill is still the two, but it's still really like I was so unlike what it did with this. Yeah, and I was happy. I'm ultimately quite happy with this. I can't be mad. Yes, I would have changed a couple of things. Yes, it's pretentious, quote unquote, blah blah blah.
Right.
But as a comic book fan, don't fight it on as a film post.
Yes.
I just walk in as if I want to watch a comic book movie.
Yeah.
I enjoyed those comic book movies.
Right.
Yeah,
That good Elseworlds.
Yeah. Also, I love that costume. I love that.
It is.
I love that Joker
I like the
outfit.
mask. The mask is good.
Yeah.
It was interesting from that take.
Yeah.
I was surprised. Oh, it's a surprising thing from the otherworldly perspective of outside the world, right? Everybody is saying, oh, it's going to be a real right-wing thing. It's not surprising. A lot of left-wing people into this movie.
Yeah.
Because they have a lot of Antifa aspects. But he himself, not politically, he already said that.
He just doesn't care about politics. What I love about that, and as you see that, right? So this is what I love about the film, and this actually caught me completely by surprise, right? Is that he is a symbol,
right?
But he doesn't know it, and he doesn't really care about it. But it's a symbol that he becomes, though. And well, that's one reference that I was thinking about, though, from Batman Begins.
Right.
The idea like what Bruce Wayne said, you know what I mean, but as a symbol, you know what I mean, as a thing, what I represent.
Right.
I saw that in the Dark Knight, particularly Dark Knight, right? With the other Batman, and then the idea of you try to be a vigilante, you know what I mean, all that kind of stuff, right? So it's like all these characters, all like the people, and you just see this how bad the conditions are. It's like, we see this guy in a clown mask shoot up some people in a subway, some rich guys. It's like, cool, this is our opportunity.
Yeah.
One gripe that I have with the film is that I wish that they explore the social aspect this time. Because why? Because I just felt that, okay, like the rioting in the subway, I get it, but then it just goes like full scale, and you're like,
wow,
okay.
I defend that because it was building up.
Yes.
All right. But I just wish I saw a little bit.
No, if you listen to the news.
News was building up.
News talked about
I get it, but I just wish I could have just seen like an image or two.
I prefer
I think they laid the groundwork in the background. If you're paying attention, if you talk about
garbage
it in the news, garbage strike. You see the garbage piling up on the road. People have to live in that filth.
Yeah, but
Thomas Wayne being dismissive.
Yes, calling people clowns. So like, I'm a clown? Okay, this is your one clown.
I think okay, so I have to just check back the movie to see if was the time scale of it.
It's supposed to be in 1981.
No, how long it took.
Oh, how long it took. Sorry.
If it took weeks,
it seemed like it's weeks.
But if it's just days, that don't make any sense.
Nah, it seemed to me like it's weeks because I get the feeling from the point where he got the sign broken.
Right.
He was injured. There was time off there. He came out, found out, this guy went to the hospital. Mother had been fine, but ailing, sick. She gets a stroke. I feel like weeks had been passed.
Yeah, so clearly a lot of time passed from the subway shooting. Okay, I understand.
Right.
But I just wish I just saw this a little bit.
I also feel like you said symbol.
Yeah.
I don't get, to them, he might be like that, but to him, they are his audience.
Right. Yes. And that's why we get that great shot with him on top of the car. He just
using blood. I don't know.
Right. No, you didn't like the whole tying back to Bruce Wayne stuff. I actually love that. And that's the idea that, he's a symbol, but now this other person is going to take that now and do some kind of crime.
Not just that, but it ties back into what is being said, where he's like, people talk about one thing creating another.
Yeah. Exactly.
And because of this, you did this. Here's the rioting. Here's Joe. Let's call him Joe Chill. Killing my parents. You just created Batman.
Right. It may seem kind of shoehorn, maybe with more views. I might find it like that, but still.
It speaks to, if you want to get political, which I don't when I'm watching movies, but it speaks to even terrorism.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's how terrorists are made.
Yeah. Exactly.
So.
But I might find it may be a little shoehorn. I guess like we just need to have that moment just in case you're wondering, this is about my movie. But I just love the fact that it's Joker could be anybody, it could be you know what I mean? It could be you, the viewer. And I'll talk about controversy.
The Gotham TV show is the show that first explored that anybody could be Joker.
Yes.
As dismissive as people
with those episodes when the Joker first episodes.
It was always.
Last point on the narrative.
Right, next thing, right? Music. I'm not gonna even try to pronounce the chick's name. She's from Iceland.
Guanodotir.
Okay.
I'm gonna take your word for it, right? She did the score for Chernobyl. It was haunted. It was dark.
Okay.
But this one, she just went all in with
so
the cello that she does here. Like I listened to the score this morning before we met up here. It is chilling. It's incredibly chilling. And just the way how the cello music sounds in the air. So and even when you're watching it on big screen though, like I was just hearing moments where it's like somebody just poking in my ear though, and it was just really putting chills on my spine. So it is one of the best soundtracks I've heard all year. I think it works perfectly with the movie here, right? The supporting cast, I know people made the argument that, oh well, it's really Joaquin running, carrying the show on his shoulders, I guess. But I think everybody, with the appearance that they have,
I think
they do
everybody
their
did
job.
well. I mean, Thomas Wayne, I don't know the actor's name, but I know I hated that Thomas Wayne.
I was like, dude, don't be an asshole. Don't be an asshole.
Right.
And then he punched him, and I was like,
I despise the character, and that speaks volume as the actor was doing a good job.
The guy in the gate is Alfred, right?
That's supposed to be Alfred.
Yeah, it is Alfred,
Right.
They never say it though.
Yeah, Zazie Beetz was pretty good. I like the little. I do think they kind of wasted a little bit. I do think it should have had a better payoff, but I like it for what it was.
Right. Young Bruce.
Bit Rolls was good.
Young Bruce. I remember my friend was saying, I told him that's Bruce. He's like, nah. I was like, well, yeah. And you see clearly, I was like, oh shit, that's it, right? Bruce, I like that he didn't really have anything to say, chat and stuff. Yeah. But it's just enough for you to know that something sparked there, especially with the end with what happens with the parents, right?
Yeah.
What else? Oh yes, Robert De Niro. How can I forget Robert De Niro? Short time that he's there, he's great.
Was in this suit.
Yeah.
Oh, Frances Conroy as his mother. I thought
yes.
Good actress, She's from 6 Feet Under, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and she did appear in American Horror Story a couple of seasons, right? But she was so compelling though.
I think was a comedian named Gary Gutfield.
Gilbert Gottfried?
No. The guy is a comedian. He had an actual comedian, Gary something. Gary Gutfield.
The guy from Glow who was playing Robert De Niro's.
No, he was the guy.
He was the guy in the club.
The guy from Glow is Mark Maron.
Right.
That's Mark Maron.
Okay. Right, you're talking about the guy in the club, right?
The club who is writing on his mannerisms.
Yes.
Right. He's a real comedian. They got a bunch of real comedy people to come.
Yeah, and it sells it too because he had to have like a vibe to how you doing things. I just see little things about Joker's characters to go back to him. Him being hurt every time he laughs. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I would have never thought about that, dude. You know what I mean? That's like genius in my opinion. Maybe it borrows from comics, but it's just how it all comes together. I thought it works.
It ties the comedy and the tragedy, and it makes you look at Joker in a completely different way.
So a couple of things before we wrap up, right? So Robert De Niro, I thought that for the time he was there, he was great. I actually loved that little dream sequence where Arthur imagines himself in the audience. He calls him in and it's like, you know what? And he gives him a hug. I thought that was like a real cool moment. And it just contrasts so perfectly to their real confrontation.
It also lends to multiple viewings because that moment should have warned us that what was going on with Zazie Beetz was not real.
Yeah. And just to go back to King of Comedy, one thing I didn't even realize, I picked up on it while I was watching it, because remember the first time I saw it, is his dream sequences. Like he would just imagine himself and this is why I kind of saw Zazie Beetz' characters kind of related to King of Comedy. Because there's this rather attractive woman, this waitress who works at this place. And he has a sequence of her them together meeting the comedian, and then there's actually a real sequence of them actually going in the man's house and all that kind of stuff there. So it's like him just kind of seeing Zazie as, I want to be with her.
I recommend King of Comedy. Popkid is one sad motherfucker.
He is.
He's so sad.
You watch him and it's just like, oh gosh, man, oh gosh, man. And he's real patient too. He's like, I'll wait, everything, I'll wait. It's like, no, leave the building. No, I'll wait.
Sad.
But now to get to controversy and violence, right? Briefly, right? So the moment with the final confrontation, I think that it was warranted. You saw it coming up, and not just because, I saw Taxi Driver, blah, blah, right? You could tell it was going to happen. But, how the media spin this, it's this big shocking thing. It's like, yes, it is shocking, but it's not like it didn't disturb me. It's just okay, it happened. And here's the thing, from that moment where, he gets arrested, and then, the ambulance smashes in, and then the guys bring him out, and then he stands up and, it's like, oh, this is my audience. If they had ended the movie like that, I'd be like, okay, now I understand the controversy, because, you're basically glorifying a villain. It's like, no. Then we have that final sequence with him in the asylum, right? And I interpret it because it's him talking to this psychiatrist, right? And then the implication is that he kills her, because when he's walking, when you hear the song, you're seeing these bloody footsteps now. I think he could interpret it just like with King of Comedy. It could be a dream sequence or it could be not, right? But I just love how it's set up, how it's framed, right? When he's walking, and I assume it's towards a door. I was like, you know what? He could leave, he could go back into society. But as the movie sets up, it's like, he tried to be part of society, but because he's so narcissistic, it's just like, no, society doesn't want me. So fine, you know what? Screw society, blah, 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 right? I'm going to be violent because I don't care anymore. I like how he just kind of detours to the right, and then we just get this kind of Marx Brothers moment where somebody's like chasing him. It's just like, well, yeah, because it's funny. It looks funny, haha, but it's not really, you know? I just thought that as an end
even the font chosen for the end is this happy, jokey kind of thing, like how I Love Lucy would end with a font like that.
It's our big Charlie Chaplin.
Yes.
Right. As I bring up that, right? So I just want to mention that thing. So Charlie Chaplin, the tramp, he's always, the poor guy, right? And especially in modern times, he was the poor guy and he was just trying to get used to society and how modern it got, he couldn't get into it, right? And if you notice the cinema where Thomas and them was, this is a bunch of bougie people, it's a bunch of rich people, while everybody else out protesting us. So just that correlation I thought worked though. So, the parallels worked.
But also as a comedian, Charlie Chaplin, the man, was brilliant, a perfectionist and a strategist for every shot he did. It speaks volumes as to the way Joker thinks as well.
What I thought we would have gotten a parallel with, Charlie Chaplin's famous speech about horror.
Oh, that's from The Great Dictator.
The Great Dictator.
Which would have been a great movie for them to show.
Because remember, he had a speech at the end. And he with the same speech. That's what I thought.
But I understand modern times because it got that smile song, right?
Yes. But it works. Either choice works, I think.
Yes.
But that's what I thought they were going with it. But the writers have no.
And the incorporation of sending the clowns.
And that's like
caught me completely. And that's like caught me by surprise too.
The last thing was the Robert De Niro's catchphrase when he ended the show.
That's
right. So they play it off like that. That ties it.
But I love how they tie in those songs particularly into the movie. I thought that worked. But as far as controversy goes, like, look, this has been happening throughout the ages. Like, in retrospect, Taxi Driver is a way more violent movie than this, in my opinion. Like, look at the climax of that movie. Just violent, bloody shootout, right? That's all I'll say. But, it's kind of like one of those things where people just looking for a reason to just kind of, okay, you can't do that. You can't have a man shoot a guy like that. Oh, but you know what I mean? Like, I went in thinking, like, the movie's gonna glorify it. And like I say, if they had ended off with him on top of the car, and end credits, and I'd be like, okay, now I get what they say. But like, no, there's consequences to these things, and that's what these movies do so great.
You have to ask yourself, if the movie wasn't about Joker, would people be making such a big deal? It would just be Arthur Fleck. It would just be another movie about another violent character, another Nightcrawler. Thank you. But because it's quote unquote comic related,
you don't like that.
But these are people who, like I said, have never read a comic. These are people who only know about these characters.
So
passing.
So while I wish that they could have just gone a little edgy, a little more transgressive, so I could be like, now I could see, this is one of the most controversial movies of all time. Unfortunately, they're gonna have this label with this movie, and I think it's
worked in the movie's favor. So at the end of the day, people going to see the movie, there are people who go to see this movie who would not normally go to see this movie. Just to see what the big deal is about.
But I think, though, unfortunately, people are going to go in with high expectations. They're going to think, this is going to shock me. This is going to really freak me out. And then they come out, no, not really.
I will say
this. You really do get a great, compelling character story, which does manage to disturb you.
The audience I saw it with did the violence.
People was cheering for him when he was like in the suit and thing in the end.
Yes. People were cheering. People were laughing at the ending. I mean, there's bloody footprints and people are laughing because how do they end it? He's running from door to door like a cartoon character.
Right. But in closing though, while I will not say this is some kind of grand masterpiece, like many critics give it this 5 out of 5. No, but it's up there. It is definitely one of the best movies of the year. Maybe it might make it to my best of list, but as far as
so far,
so rating for me, I give it a low IMAX.
All right.
And the only reason the only thing that genuinely hurt the film for me was it being a little too derivative. Not the biggest problem, but for guys nerds like me, nitpicky like me, and then I find a little too many allusions to the Batman.
Which I didn't mind, but okay.
For what it was, I was like, I dug this. I really enjoyed this for what it was.
All right. So well, for me, rating wise, I'll give this a lighter, decent 4.5 out of 5. This is hands down one of the best movies of the the year. It may not work for you, but I would say just go in with expectations low, forget the controversy because it's all bullshit. And unfortunately, it's going to be like this stain on this movie that's never going to be, removed. You know what I mean? But still, it is worth it. And not just off of Joaquin Phoenix, but the production design, and Todd Phillips really come true. It's almost like, he had an opportunity to really bring, just really bring his A game into it now. And he did that. Not saying he's one of the best directors out there, but the man pulled it off, man. And I don't know what the future is going to be as far as the DC movies go. I think they could still go for slightly, I would say more popcorn movie friendly kind of films, and this might just be an experiment that you might do once every 5 years, but this was a real good experiment that actually succeeded in my opinion. And it makes for hands down one of the best comic book movies like ever in my opinion.
I'm very happy with the Black Label thing. I want to see if they could do more with that. Again, probably Lex Luthor might be next on the list. Because you got a big name.
Yes.
Big villain.
And if you have Batman's villain, you should do Superman's.
And see what they could do with that. But I'm very happy with this as it is.
I'm glad
so Rita, last words.
Well, I'm glad DC is taking chances with their characters and giving the directors some little breathing room because so far everything we've gotten seems to fit the character of Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Shazam. The tone it has fit. For the most part. For me, this movie, like you guys said, for those who may know a little bit more in terms of where he's drawing from, you're gonna nitpick. I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10. I had a blast with this movie. In watching it, I was completely enthralled. The pacing was perfect in my opinion. Directing, the score, the use of color, it just blew me away, and it brought me back to those greasy 70s movies. That aesthetic, and I liked it in a good way. So 9 out of 10 at this point in time.
So MCU, Black Widow, Blade, whatever R-rated movie all they have in the pipeline for y'all had to step on the game up now.
I did not think of that. That they're gonna have to step up their game.
man.
Because Disney is so adamant that they don't do stuff like this.
Because the Blade thing I'm worried about.
Me too, but we had to wait 2021 or something.
Here's my thing with you doing that is that for people who love your darker characters, like I've never been a fan of happy-go-lucky characters in comics. I've always been drawn to one of my absolute favorites is Moon Knight and still is. I would love to see a television series based on that character because he's so messed up with his multiple personalities and he's so brutal. I really wish Marvel would just stop pussyfooting around these R-rated characters, and if you have an issue with them, then give them to people like Netflix who are willing to pull the trigger.
We're gonna find them.
Yeah.